You're listening to Real Talk Texas with local expert Steve Hakes. Now, here's Steve.
Welcome back to Real Talk Texas. Today in the studio, we've got Jim Striegel of Coldwell Banker. He's not your average agent. He's got an awesome business background. He approaches the real estate business in that fashion. That's why he's one of the top 1% in the marketplace, one of the top 100 buyers agents in the Metroplex as well. And so, Jim's just shared with us some of the, and we'll recap that for our listeners that may have missed some of the special offers. He's not the agent that just takes a 6% commission and lists your house or helps represent you on a buy side. He actually approaches it in a business fashion, really trying to make sure that you accomplish your goals, it sounds like. Right, Jim?
Absolutely. I think you have to think outside the box with the consumer today to be different and to be successful in real estate.
And let's, for those listeners that just joined us, let's go back to the special offers. One of the keys to your success, I think, are these programs you put in place that you've applied from the car business. So let's go back to that for 1 second.
Yeah, one of the programs I have is Your Home Sold in 39 Days Guaranteed or I'll Buy It. And that's just a trade-up program, or I'll take trade-ins. It's real simple. If someone has a house, they want to sell it, the bank appraises it. Whatever it appraises for is what we guarantee the price, and then they purchase another home with us. So it's a trade-up program that we do, and we've done it consistently since I started the company 15 years ago. I also do a 70% discount on my listing commission, which that's a program that if you're going to purchase a home with us, we'll give you a 70% discount on the listing commission, and then you work with us on the buy. And again, you've got to be consumer friendly, and it's got to be a win-win for all parties. And that's one thing that I try to do is consistently make it a win-win for all parties.
So it sounds like you make the transaction very simple for someone, as long as they, and you're representing, if I'm buying a house, I can buy any house, or do I have to buy a house that you guys have listed as well?
When I guarantee the sale program, it's a trade-up. You're purchasing one of our homes that you want to see, which I just did one recently in Southlake. I had a client that had a $300,000 house in Grapevine. They wanted the 560 house that I had listed in Southlake. I took it in trade, sold their home in 39 days. They purchased the other home. We bought the home, which I closed on it, and then I sold it to somebody else.
That sounds like a great program. I think I've heard of some builders offering that kind of similar type of thing, but I really haven't heard that in a regular real estate market.
No, most builders, there are some that do it. I don't know exactly which ones do. But I just find that you've got to be, it's got to be a win-win and fair to all people. And I think it's a great program. It's been very successful for me, and I will always continue to do it.
That's awesome. And if you're a listener out there and you're thinking about buying or selling your house, pull out your cell phone right now and we'll put you in touch with Jim. Just go ahead and put in this number, 817-925-2546. That's 817-925-2546, and just put in buy or sell. We'll take your information. We'll get you in touch with Jim and his team. Speaking of that, Jim, you do a lot of business, so you've got to have some help. I don't think you can do it all by yourself. Can you tell me, who do you work with at your office?
I have a team of 6 people. We're there 7 days a week. I've got my broker works with me. She's been with me over 10 years, as well as other agents, as well as contract to close. And so we try to make it a friendly, smooth transition. When we get a contract, it goes to contract to close. She's an agent that does nothing but handle the paperwork, make sure all the inspections are done properly, make sure we negotiate everything properly, and so that, it's a win-win for all parties with the repairs. And having the team of 6 people, it makes it very manageable, and everybody is, number one, happy. It's got to be a great experience and a great atmosphere, which is what we work on daily to make sure that we do have that and we're taking care of our customers.
And so I would assume, based on that, you get a lot of referral business.
Yes, we do. We get a lot of referral business through past clients.
And say, for example, I think when we had lunch the other day and we were talking about the way that you approach your business and working with your team, and I've heard a lot of agents say, I've got so many assistants. And you approach that differently.
Yeah, I believe my team is, we're partners. We're in this together. I want my team to be an ownership partner with me, and so they're partners. They're not assistants, and they can make decisions based on being an owner, and I think that's important.
And that's so when you're working with you and your partners, part of your team, it sounds to me like it's just like working with you directly, because you're all working together, and it doesn't matter if you're the one going out and showing the house. you've got the whole strategy put in place for me right off out of the chute.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like this Saturday, I've got appointments, and Carolyn, my right-hand person, she has appointments. And at the end of the day, we'll talk about the houses I saw. If there's a house she'd like me to look at to get my opinion, I'll go look at it for my client, as well as she'll do the same. And again, having a team and a strong team helping each other is very important. That's part of business, whether it's any business.
Well, let's talk about what's going on in the real estate market in North Texas. Starting in about, I guess probably March, I think, as from a lender standpoint, it really was one of those things that I was surprised how many people were out. They were getting pre-qualified in March. In April, they started making purchases. I think our business, I'm sure you saw it, shot up probably a couple months early than normal years where you get people buying during the summer months. Did you experience that?
Absolutely. The homes that were basically below $700,000 and in the 200 to 400 range were selling multiple offers within literally the day you put it on the market. If you put a coming soon sign in front of the house, you had people calling wanting to write offers. I had many people, had an FBI agent call me and say, I had a coming soon sign on a $400,000 house. He was moving from Chicago. And literally, Jim, I want to see the house before everybody else. And we sold it ahead of time and before it even went on the market. And so with rates and interest rates as low as they've been, it's without a doubt, I tell people to take advantage. Back in the late 70s and 80s, I remember I was A paper and I was paying 12.5% and 13% for my mortgage. When you can get mortgages today at 3 to 4%, take advantage because it's not going to last forever.
Right, and we've seen that from the mortgage standpoint. We've seen rates jump up a point to a point and a quarter. So now we're on a 15-year. We're in the fours and or high threes, low fours today, depending on your credit and how much down payment you're putting it down and things like that. The other thing that we're seeing is that the mortgage market's been crazy lately. I mean, it's really been skittish, I should call it. And I try to predict it. I follow it every day. I've got lots of tools on my desk. I give my clients advice about floating and locking and things like that. And over the last 30 days, I would say, I used to say float and see where it was happening because rates kept dropping. And now I will tell you that I rarely give that advice to float right now. I basically say, if you want to float, you're in Vegas, I'm not in Vegas, because I just see rates continuing to rise into the fives by this time next year, I'm sure. And that's everything I'm reading. But I'll also give you an example. I have a client that we've got pre-approved, and we'll talk about that as well later, about the difference between pre-qualified and approved. And her loan's $180,000, and her rate went up 1 1/8 from the time we approved her. She kept shopping houses. She made offers. They didn't get accepted or whatever, but she called me up and said, "Hey, Steve, how bad is it?" Instead of telling her that rates had gone up a point since we qualified her or approved her, I just said, "Hey, your mortgage went up $100 a month," and that was the truth. And so it was a little more palatable, So when you hear interest rate changes, it depends on your loan size. But, if you're in the bulk of the market where you're at that $200,000, $180,000 average loan size, which is what the Metroplex is, it doesn't really, going up a point is not that much money a month extra. So the other piece of that is I want to find out, and we've only got about another minute in this segment, but I want to find out, has that continued? We're into September now. Are you seeing more inventory come on board? Are you seeing less? What's the activity out there?
I think you're seeing, as far as you have people waiting till next spring to put it on the market in the higher price homes. I think the medium price homes, people are still putting them on. They're still buyers. Are they moving as fast, multiple offers as they were in the last 6 months? No, but that's school's gone back. And when school starts, things sell, but at a much slower pace. So I tell people, if you're going to put your home on the market, I like to do a split listing. If I put a home on the market today and it's not sold by Thanksgiving, the 1st of December, take it off the market and put it back on March 1 of 2014. That way it doesn't get old and stale, and it's fresh, and the market really starts selling in March, April, May, June, July, and those months are extremely strong. So it comes down to the individual. If they need to sell it, there are buyers. We have close to 150, 200 buyers in our database. we automatically push our own listings first, which is what people hire us to do. And I think with that being the case, you've got to just look at every situation different. When you look at a house, it's up to that client of what their needs are at that time.
Yeah, and you try to marry up the two.
Absolutely. It's got to be, again, time and win-win and the opportunity fair for all.
If you just tuned in, you're listening to Real Talk Texas. We've got Jim Striegel in the studio today. He's with Coldwell Banker in Grapevine, but he also covers the whole Metroplex, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next segment, that being based in Grapevine, you're really centrally located, and I think it's a great thing. We'll get back to you in the next segment. We're going to talk more about strategies, key things you need to do to make sure your house sells and make sure that you buy at the right price. You're listening to Real Talk Texas on KLIF AM 570.